Chapter 1. The Assignment Nobody Wanted. The interstellar survey ship Meridian emerged from faster-than-light transit in complete silence. For a few brief seconds, the stars around the vessel appeared distorted, stretched into impossible lines by the collapsing transit field. Then, as the engines powered down, the familiar geometry of normal space returned. Before the crew, suspended in the darkness, hung an ordinary yellow star. Captain Terv barely looked up from his console. "Confirm arrival." "Transit complete," replied the navigation officer. "Local designation, Sol. Third planet contains the target civilization." A holographic image expanded above the bridge. A small blue sphere rotated slowly, wrapped in white clouds and surrounded by hundreds of artificial satellites. Terv sighed. After 32 years exploring pulsars, rogue planets, and neutron stars, my final assignment is to watch primitives invent rockets. No one answered. Officially, the mission was classified as a Level 3 scientific observation. Routine, uneventful, and thoroughly uninteresting. The Meridian had been dispatched by the Galactic Survey Authority to monitor a newly discovered pre-FTL civilization. Their orders were simple: observe, record, do not interfere, return in 20 years. The ship itself was not built for combat. It carried laboratories, sensor arrays, and a vast archive containing centuries of observations from hundreds of worlds. Its crew consisted mostly of scientists who had expected far more exciting assignments. Dr. Selen, chief xenologist, manipulated the holographic display with a gesture. Species designation, human. Native to the third planet. Carbon-based. Bilaterally symmetrical. Industrial civilization, approaching early interplanetary capability. Chief Engineer Korv leaned back in his chair. Prediction. Selen consulted the report. Conservative estimates place first practical faster-than-light theory in approximately 3 to 4 centuries. Korv nodded. So we spend 20 years watching them slowly improve their chemical rockets. Essentially. Captain Terv stood and crossed the bridge toward the observation window. Earth shone in the distance, beautiful and insignificant. How many civilizations have we surveyed? 214, answered analyst Vera from her station. And how many surprised us? The young analyst considered the question. 3. Then let us hope humanity becomes the 4th. The bridge lights dimmed as the Meridian activated its concealment systems. The ship drifted into a stable position beyond the moon, invisible to every instrument humanity possessed. The mission had begun. 3 days later, boredom had already settled over the crew. The observation chamber, designed for major scientific discoveries, had become the center of increasingly trivial conversations. On one screen, human scientists debated orbital mechanics. On another, engineers assembled metallic structures in enormous buildings. Elsewhere, politicians argued, journalists speculated, and millions of ordinary humans exchanged opinions through the global communications network they called the Internet. Korv stared at the endless stream of messages scrolling across a display. "I have a question." Dr. Selen did not look up. "You always do. Why do millions of individuals discuss aerospace engineering, despite possessing absolutely no qualifications?" Vera consulted the translation software. "It appears to be a cultural tradition." Korv frowned. "A tradition. One human claims the rocket will explode because the fuel pumps are inadequate. And his expertise. He repairs household plumbing. The engineer blinked. Incredible. Captain Terv entered the room carrying a cup of heated Kelroot tea. Status report. Vera straightened immediately. A major launch is scheduled in 6 planetary hours. At once the atmosphere changed. The crew had studied humanity's history before arriving. They knew of the early orbital programs, the lunar expeditions, the construction of space stations. But witnessing such events in real time was another matter entirely. Selen enlarged the image. A gigantic launch vehicle stood on a coastal platform, surrounded by towers, fuel lines, and countless human technicians moving below like insects. Korv nearly spilled his drink. They intend to put living beings inside that. Not on this flight, Vera replied. Small comfort. The captain sat down. Chemical propulsion remains astonishingly inefficient. Yes, Selen agreed. Yet somehow they crossed the void between their world and their satellite, using little more than controlled explosions. Korv stared at the rocket. Controlled seems optimistic. Hours later, the entire senior staff had gathered in the observation chamber. The countdown echoed through human broadcasts. 10, 9, 8. The engines ignited beneath the launch vehicle, flooding the launch pad with fire and steam. For a moment, nobody aboard the Meridian spoke. Then the rocket began to rise. The humans on the screens erupted in celebration. Korv folded his arms. How much reactive mass are they carrying? Too much. How many redundancies? Not enough. The massive vehicle climbed through the atmosphere, shaking violently. Captain Terv narrowed his eyes. They trust this machine. Selen nodded. Apparently. Enough to stand beneath it. Apparently. The captain remained silent for several seconds. Finally, he asked the question that would become increasingly common. Aboard the Meridian over the following years, are humans exceptionally brave? He paused as the rocket executed a difficult maneuver. Or catastrophically reckless? No one answered. Because, for the first time since arriving in the solar system, the crew realized that they genuinely did not know. Far below, on the surface of Earth, millions of people watched the launch with excitement and hope. And hidden in the darkness beyond the moon, an alien crew opened a new file in the ship's archive. Species report humanity. Supplementary note. The subjects willingly strapped themselves to containers filled with explosive chemicals and launched toward space. Motivation remains unclear. The report was submitted. Less than a minute later, Chief Engineer Korv quietly added a second note. Recommendation: extend observation period. These people are going to do something unbelievable.